Cold gang. First round draft pick.
Welcome to another episode of Cold Game. I'm your host, Isaiah Dotson. I'm here with my co-host, Malcolm Bennell, and backed by popular demand, one of the most well-connected, hardest working minds in the game. He's not just in the loop, he is the loop. Whether it's behind the scenes or front center, man, this man is always 10 toes down, making power moves with a purpose. Welcome back to Cold Game, Michael Highbaugh Jr., the connector, the grinder, and the voice that always brings insight and impact. What's happening with it, cuz?
What's good, cuz? I appreciate the hospitality and the invite again, man.
Oh, man, it's an honor to have you back on, man. It's an honor to have you back on. What you got going on? Where you at? I see you in the you in the hotel. Where you at?
I'm out in B-Town right now, man. I'm in Bloomington, man. Just handling business, grinding. You know how it is. It don't stop, man. It don't stop.
Absolutely.
That's what's up, man. You know, this week, cuz, man, you know, it's, you know, when your name pop up on the screen, man, it's always, you know, the light bulb hits off. I'm like, man, okay, what cuz got going on? You know, what do we talk about now? And you brought to our attention, man, a very, very important topic that we wanted to touch on. You know, I think it's very relevant today, in today's workforce, you know, and just today in life in general. You know, a lot of people are having to make decisions at all ages, not just coming out of high school, but you know, in they mid-20s, late 30s. You know, ain't no telling when you're gonna have to make the decision. But you know, I'm gonna let you talk about it, cuz what you know, we talk about trade school versus college. Talk to me.
Man, I just I think it's very important, cuz, and you just drop gems right there. It don't matter how old you are, man. At some point, like I said on the last podcast, man, I don't care what you do. If you work at Eli Lilly, the NBA, McDonald's, Warren, something's gonna transition in your life where it's gonna be you gotta really lock in. And I think right now it's a guarantee that it's better to go to get a trade than going to college. I mean, to everybody want to experience that college life and that party, and I get that. But it's like it's kind of like either you in or you out. So you going to pay somebody to learn, or they don't pay you to learn. I mean, who don't want to make money and learn what you like to do? I tell people all the time, man, if you really lock in on what you enjoy doing, you'll never work a day in your life. I mean, you doing what you love and you getting paid for it, so you ain't really working.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right. And I tried the college route myself, and you know, I've been back to college multiple times. I'm in a point in my life, cuz right now where I'm like, dang, do I, you know, go back and finish and, you know, go back to school and get that degree? But really, man, I'm leading so hard to trade school right now, cuz I've been looking at HVAC programs, plumbing programs, and I mean, it just is what it is, because it's not only once I get that accreditation or certification that I'm certified to do these trades, I can take my knowledge and go make money by myself. I don't got to go work for no heating and cooling company or no plumbing company or no, you know, electrician company. I can go, you know, people need that stuff all day. And it was crazy because, you know, we're going through this heat wave right now. Man, and for the past 2 weeks, I ain't seen nothing but sweets cooling trucks up and down my block all day. I'm like, they getting money right now. They are getting money. I've seen at least 10 of them in the past 3 or 4 days. So you absolutely right, cuz.
Hey, cuz I just you know, I'm always keep it real, keep it solid. And I mean, cuz asked where I was at. He seen I was in a hotel. I'm in Bloomington right now. I got a compliance out the last 3 days. So we deal I got 2 facilities out here in Bloomington and 1 back in Indy. And my facilities in Bloomington, we deal with ammonia. It's like, a lady yesterday, she was telling me, she said, in this field here, you got to be careful how you do people, because it's like you're going to run into them again. It's not too many people out here that know ammonia. It's not too many people out here that know Freon like that. And it's like you got 200,000 journeymen right now. Well, you got 40,000 of them about to retire, 50, 60 years old, but nobody want to learn that. So we all going to be in trouble here soon if nobody want to learn it. We got to, I mean, you never know what tomorrow may bring later today, and we losing them left and right. If nobody want to learn the trade, you can't. A fucking robot can't fix your AC. I mean, it's up to us, and nobody want to learn it. But you rather gamble your life on trapping or whatever you want to call it, and they paying you the same amount of money, and you ain't got to watch over your shoulder. $100, $200 an hour. You name it. You name your price. Like you said, because you start off with a company like that, you learn one thing, you go in for HVAC, and they teach you how to plumb, and then you learn how to weld, and then you just add on. They paying you to learn, but nobody want to do that. They think it ain't cool to do it. It's crazy. I see it every day.
I do. I think it's super cool. You know what I'm saying? I think it's one of the coolest things in the world. You ask me, shit. Ain't nothing cooler than making money.
What?
Mm-hmm. Well, let me play devil advocate for a second. Because I definitely agree that the trades is a great path to success. It's a great way to provide for your family. And it's a great way to earn a living. But what is who in specific do you think is more geared towards or should be geared towards trying to go to the trades? Because there's going to college, I feel like it can open the doors to different fields that people may have interest in. Like, if they want to go into education, if they want to go into healthcare, if they want to go into business, leadership, I think it's a career path going to college that you can maybe reach a higher level. So when we say, who needs to go to trade school? Who is it that we're talking about that needs to, that may want to consider going to trade school? Is it somebody that's just undecided, or is it somebody that, that may be looking to be a doctor or be, in education, and that, hey, you may want to take a second thought and maybe look at the trade. So who should be looking at going to trade school? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, I would say, first and foremost, fresh out of high school. You 18, 19 years old, and you going in, you probably starting off at bottom dollar PM Tech probably for a company like Dean Mechanical, Fortune 500 company, easy. You starting off at $24, $25 an hour at 19 years old. That's damn good money. And you just continue to learn, man. You perfect your craft just like you do anything else, and one thing leads to another. You stay in the books. You just surround yourself with good people, ask questions, and just be available. I don't like. The vice president of my engineering team, Clayton. He said he gave me 3 keys. He said be present. He said gripe up, never gripe down. And he said build good partners. And I thought about it for a while after that, and I'm just like, what you mean by that? But it's just simple as it is. You be present. You just be at work, ask questions, build good partners. Good relationship with people, because you never know who you may need tomorrow. But if you doing the wrong way, then they may have the final say so. It ain't no fun when a rabbit got the gun. So to answer your question, cuz really, I ain't even gonna put no age limit on it. I would say 18, 19, fresh out of high school, but anybody, man. The way the world is now, trades is making a killing.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. And this is I went to college. I went to fresh out of high school. I went to Dean College here in Massachusetts. I was in Dean College for 2 years, and I transferred to Nichols College. Being in college, I went there initially on a scholarship, but I think my 3rd year I had to pay some of my tuition, and it did create a debt, for me that's still on my account today. So I think that's one of the drawbacks that we think of when we go to college is, you're gonna have that debt on your account, and you're gonna be facing that throughout your throughout your adulthood. But I would say this about college: if you go into college with the right mindset and with the right purpose, it could be extremely beneficial in the fact that you can meet a lot of great people, make a lot of great connections. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Say that again, cuz. Say it one more time.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Now say it one more time. One more time. So people
it's not what you know, it's who you know. And depending on what school you go to, I'm sure a lot of people that's going to school in state, it's a lot more reasons to go to an in-state school. But when you go to that school, you can make these lifelong lasting connections. You don't know if you never know when down the road you're gonna need them, and what or how you can, what purpose it would come to you in the future. So, example. So I'm out here in Massachusetts, right? And I met people from Florida, Georgia, Rhode Island, Maine, Arkansas, California, Texas, from all over the place. Currently, I'm in the trades right now. It's crazy how this stuff combines. I'm in the trades right now. One of my good friends from college, his name is Deshaun Bryant. I actually want to have him on the show pretty soon. He started a company called Roof Hustlers. And so I'm in the trades myself, being a contractor, dealing with roofs, dealing with, gutters and home exteriors. I met him in college, and that's my bro. He from Florida. We connected through music. We used to be in the doors rapping and record our music. And who would have known 15 years later that we would both be contractors working as roofers? And he's one of the biggest in our field. His company Roof Hustlers I think they got like 20,000 people in their Facebook group, other contractors that go to this group and connect and look for information on how to elevate their hustle. So I think college is definitely a good option if you're going to college with the intent to connect, network, broaden your horizons, and you have a purpose of going in there. A lot of people don't go to college with no purpose, which was me when I went to college initially. I went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I went there. I think I went there first with sports management. In my head, I wanted to be a sports agent, and football didn't work out. That was the number one thing I was thinking about. But who could have foresaw the way the world was gonna go and knew that in this field, in this space that we in right now, with the podcast space, the journalism, the media, that's a passion of mine. And had I known that this would be a passion, I would have pursued, sports media, journalism in college. And then also in the trades, being with the trades. If I was in college and I knew, okay, I got a passion for, talking to homeowners, dealing with clients, being in this business world, I maybe would have pursued a higher education in construction management, to where, they leveled up. One of my good friends, Michael Owens, he owns a big construction company, and he works on, these big high-rise buildings and, these over 35,000 square feet worth of construction projects. So I just think it's a couple ways you can do it. But the trades are definitely popping right now. Popping, especially in the summertime, man. Who AC out right now? Who ain't got no air in their house?
Everybody.
And who you gonna call?
Man, I'm in this motherfucking hotel, man, and this AC, man, listen, when I first got in here, I turned on 69. I left out for like 2 hours. It ain't cooling off right now. I turned on 59. They got like this podcast. I don't go to another room and this shit don't cool down. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Yeah, they came in hot.
How it feel being back in the beat town, man? How's that feeling being back in your old stomping grounds?
Man, it's crazy, man, but it's a blessing. We used to run the city, run the town, running wild, man, with no plan or nothing, But God is good all the time, as I always say, and now I come back in a way running shit, And man, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
When you go back to the city, man, is there anybody that you stop in on? Any places that you gotta go? Anybody that you call? Let them know, hey, I'm in the town.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mama Joy, she is in North Carolina right now. I called her when I was on my way down. My dog Boogie, I'll probably meet him after I get off of here if I don't get too tired. But it's a couple people still down here, man. A couple old heads. And just pull up on them for a minute, show love, man, and just show gratitude, man. Just show gratitude and appreciation, man.
Absolutely. My little cousin, she was a graduate of Indiana University, man. So as much as I love IU, it's crazy that IU, that's a passion of mine, but I never got the chance to experience IU, and that's going to college. I wish I would have maybe looked more into IU and had the opportunity to go there, man. So I'm
And
sure it
I've
was a great experience.
man, I've had so many grateful opportunities and fun out here. I mean, from dealing with Troy, Deb, Stan, Yo, Noah Vonleh, Siwa, Victor Oladipo. I mean, just all of them, man. Just being out here, just being around. But and people ask me all the time, like, what do you do to be around people like that? And it's simple. Just be yourself. Some people they get around and they try they do the most, and most people we all human. I don't care how much money you got, what kind of car you drive, like we all human. Just be yourself, man.
That's one of my favorite quotes. You always say, "Be yourself, man." And it's something that a lot of people say, but they all think they don't really really take into account what that truly means, man. You ain't gotta you ain't gotta try to be like nobody else, try to perpetrate what we see on TV, and being yourself is the best option.
Man,
And it's always
you 1-on-1. Ain't nobody like you. Never know everybody be like you. You by yourself, you.
Big Mal. Let me ask you this, cuz I got a question for you. Why do you think people devalue the trades? Like, why do you think people look down on, like the trades, like a plumber? People when people think about a plumber, why do you think people look down on a trade like that?
First, because we live in a capitalistic society, and what's taught to you, by the people with the money are, I guess, it's a tradition. Go to school, go to college, and get a degree, and look for higher education, and advance in your career field. But then, like, there's nothing glamorized about being a plumber. You know what I'm saying? When people think about plumbing, the first thing people think about is a shitty toilet or some shit overflowing. You know what I'm saying? And that's not plumbing. People really just they only know what they know. You know what I'm saying? You think you call a plumber when your toilet clogged up. No, you know what I'm saying? Crap, bust open your walls, look at all them pipes, you know what I'm saying? Look at all that piping, pipe fitting, and all this. It's so much that goes into plumbing. Just like I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? That's why I said I want to get back into find me a trade, electrician. Everybody think electricians is, driving around, checking on power lines. That's not what electricians do. There's so much stuff that, these people do. So I think that's just kind of why it's looked down on. And, and I think for the people who either actually know and studied and really looked into it, or they have somebody close to them that's really letting them know, like, hey man, I'm a plumber. Look, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. And then they say, oh, okay, I see it now. You got to really have somebody to turn you on to something like that. Because, just in the place that we live in America, the especially for people like us athletes, it's like, I can honestly say I never cared about college. You know what I'm saying? College was not like I cared about football. You know what I'm saying? And as a kid, I was told, you're this good at football, you're gonna make it here. So I never even worried about like school or trades. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, I'm going to the NFL. Like, so I don't, all that other stuff don't matter to me. And that kind of, now I'm in my 30s and stuff. I wish I didn't have that mindset. I wish I had, the wherewithal to really dive into whether it was a trade or into a major or something in college. I didn't care about it. I took criminal justice because it was just the easiest thing. I thought, I said, okay, I'll take criminal justice. I'm not here to do it. I'm just here to play football. So.
And I want to say this. I want to say this too, because I feel like I have to say this, so people understand my full story. So I went to college, right? And I did my years of college. I came out, I had a regular 9 to 5. I was working at AT&T. I did a couple other things, but AT&T, I think, was my longest tenure job. I was there for like 2 or 3 years in my early 20s. I had tried a couple different things. I was arrested when I was 25 years old. I did 2.5 years. Caught a felony, caught a case. Ended up doing some time. I came home. I honestly didn't know what I was going to do. I really didn't. And the first job opportunity that was given to me was a fencing job. So I was installing fences, and I was doing that for a season. I think they had me doing installing fences for like a year. And then I started doing a couple of odd things here and there, but I had got my hands on installing fences, and then I was also in a construction pathways program with through the city of Lawrence. They put me in this program where I was learning about the trades and learning about the laborers union, and learning about how to build different things, and it kind of it was piquing my interest. And then the breakthrough for me came, after going through this construction pathways program, after getting, my OSHA 30, after getting my lead RRP, after getting a couple different licenses and things like that. I still was unsure about what I wanted to do. What broke through for me was I got that call from Unc. Unc called me and said, "Hey nephew, I think I know what you should probably get into." I was like, "What's that, Unc?" He said, "You should get into installing gutters." He said, let me show you something. Unc showed me a list, and he showed me a piece of paper where dudes is making upwards of 90, 100 bands plus a week. Right. So I'm looking at this list, and the average dude is making like 5 to 10 bands a week. And I'm like, hold on, how they doing this? And that was in 2020. And that's what really got me, going into the trades. But let me tell you, and I think as a business owner, as somebody who's been doing this for this would be my 5th year in business. Actually, would be our 5th year in business this week. I think we grow to be so humble, and we don't like to we don't really open up. I know me personally, I don't open up a lot about what's going on in my business because I just focus on keeping my nose on the ground and keep working. But here's 3 reasons I feel like a person should look into getting into the trades. Number 1, like as I said, I'm a felon. Getting into the trades, I feel like my past was not being brought up. I wasn't having to check on the application, hey, I am a felon. I did for this, I wasn't getting asked no questions and feel like I'm being judged. I got in the trade. Only thing they care about, do you do good work? Are you punctual, and do you keep your word? That's all that matters. Do you keep your word? Do you do good work? Are you a good person? That was number 1. Number 2, being a contractor. It was the first time that a client of mine, maybe 2 years ago, one of my first big contracts, I was doing these jobs and I was getting like $1,000 jobs, $2,000 jobs. We was doing that in a day, which was great. But the first time I did a big remodel, a big renovation, and the client cut a check for $50,000 and told me, let's get this done and manage that budget. That my eyes popped 50. My eyes popped up. I said, okay, I'm fully locked in and focused on how to grow this.
Right.
It was something I had never experienced. A client writing a $50,000 check, me going to the bank and actually cashing that check in. I cashed the whole thing. I cashed the whole thing. And I sit there in my I counted it maybe 20, 30 times.
Right.
I was coming to it.
You said a huge thing right there. You said budget.
Mm-hmm.
Speak on budgeting that 50,000, because people don't know about that budget. That word budget with a capital.
Absolutely. When we talk about budget, we talking about managing material, making sure all the materials on site. And for me, it was making sure for this remodel was making sure that we had electricians that I knew a price for my electrician, knew the price for my plumber. Just knowing, okay, I'm gonna have to spend $5,000 here for my electrician. Okay, for this material, I calculate my material about 15,000. For every other supplies we're gonna need, and then also my labor, my guys who's gonna work with me to install all this. Maybe another $5,000-$10,000. And then you always got to see what the profit is. You want to, after doing all this work, you want to have a profit at the end, so you won't be doing all this work for no reason. You want to have yourself a nice little chunk at the end. So just me managing how that budget and how this job is gonna go from start to finish, and then also being responsible for that money. Somebody give you a lot of money, you got to be responsible and know how to allocate those funds. So that was the second thing, being able to, deal with large sums of money. But then the third thing is obviously your freedom and your time. I got freedom over my schedule. that's probably the most important thing to me, because me being out here, me being in Massachusetts currently, and me being away from my family, you know, I have to have the freedom to be able to go and travel as I need to. You know, it may be a week where I got to tell my guys, hey, I'm gonna be gone for, you know, these 2 or 3 days. I don't have to ask anybody permission. It's all on me, you know. So I think that's another one of the benefits of being a contractor, being in the trades. So yeah, that's my story about the trades, you know. And I'm currently in a Teddy Bear Roofing. You know, we rebranded this year. And yeah, we focus a lot on client relations, but we doing a lot of roofs this summer. A lot of gutters is what we mainly do, you know. But yeah, we trying to take this thing to the top. So I'm a big fan of the trades, man. So when we talk about that this week, cuz I said, oh man, that's, you know, trades versus college, you know, that's right in my alleyway, man. So but I want to hear more about your field, and what's some of the 3 reasons you think somebody should get into the trades over college?
So currently, I'm in supply chain engineering, more on the manufacturing side. So I'm an active facility maintenance manager for, like I said, I got 2 facilities in Bloomington, Vernon Pike and Curry Pike. And then I got on the Far East side in Indy, I got a DC. That's a mom and pop store for independent grocery stores. So it's just, I mean, it's big. I mean, produce, we got to have produce to eat, right? So it falls on me to make sure that the building is up to par. Refrigeration controls, like I said, HVAC, Freon. It goes a dime a dozen, man. It goes all day long. But it's like you learn every day. It's something new. It's like every day is different. Why would I say get into a trade? Because you build connections sometimes that money can't buy. You meet people. You be in rooms that I don't care how much money you got, you couldn't do that. But just the work that you in, the people you come across, and you never know. I just be around some people that like they wear some of the stuff, and you be like, I would never wear that, but where they are because of their mindset. We are so caught up on what our parents is like, you know, people that don't know nothing about us, Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton, I mean things like that don't give a damn about us. But the others, they worried about assets. I mean, we just throwing our money away, and they wonder why we are where we are, because they don't teach us coming up what we need to really learn about in school: credit, 401k, stuff like that. They don't teach us that because they want us to be brainwashed, and it's gonna start here on the code game, and we're gonna change that from the Far East side. You know what I'm saying, in Massachusetts. You know what I'm saying, whatever we got to do to teach the younger generation coming up, it's starting on the code game. You hear me? All we got is our word, man, and whatever what needs to happen, it's gonna happen.
Code
you heard
game
it right here first on the code game. It's gonna happen.
Okay.
Code game.
Four, code game. First round draft pick.